The early morning sun shone brightly as a set of luxury cars pulled up to the airport. Inside the largest car sat Emily Okocha, a soft-spoken young woman with a calm demeanor. She had just returned from the United States, where she had spent most of her teenage years in boarding school. Her billionaire father, Mr. Okocha, had insisted she return home to be closer to him and join Gracefield College, an elite school known for its prestige. As the car doors opened, Emily stepped out in simple jeans and a t-shirt. Her braided hair was neatly tied back, and she carried a small backpack. She noticed the stares from people nearby, drawn to the convoy of high-end vehicles, but she didn't care. Emily was used to her father's wealth attracting attention. Still, she preferred a quieter life. Her father greeted her warmly. "Welcome home, Emily," he said with a smile. "I know Gracefield will be a good fit for you. Just focus on your studies and enjoy yourself." "I'll do my best, Dad," Emily replied, hugging him. Despite her father's insistence on comfort, Emily had made up her mind about how she wanted to live. She planned to keep a low profile and avoid the spotlight her family name always brought. To blend in, she decided she would dress simply and ride a bicycle to school. The next day, the gates of Gracefield College opened wide, welcoming students to the start of a new term. Gracefield was one of the most prestigious schools in the city, known for its wealthy students and high standards. Expensive cars rolled in, dropping off young men and women. Among them was Emily. She arrived quietly, parking her bicycle near the gate. She wore a neatly ironed white shirt and carried a simple bag. Her classmates barely noticed her as she walked past. The few who did began whispering. "Did she really ride a bicycle to school?" a girl asked, wrinkling her nose. "She must be poor," another boy replied, laughing softly. Emily ignored the comments. She knew what people would think of her simple appearance. Her father had always told her, "You don't need to prove your worth with flashy things. Your character is your value." Holding on to those words, Emily walked calmly to her classroom. Not long after, a shiny black SUV with tinted windows pulled into the school compound. Heads turned as the driver quickly stepped out and opened the door. Out came Sophia Obi, dressed in a custom-fitted red shirt and carrying a designer bag. She wore shiny jewelry that sparkled in the morning sunlight, and her shoes clicked against the pavement as she walked. The students nearby began to murmur. "That must be her," one boy said excitedly. "The billionaire's daughter." "I heard she just came back from abroad," a girl added. "Her family is supposed to be super rich. They even donated a new building to the school." Sophia smiled as she heard the whispers. She loved being the center of attention. She walked past everyone with confidence, her head held high, and entered the school building. As she passed by, students stared, some even pointing at her. "Wow, she's so classy," someone said. "Of course she is. What do you expect from the daughter of a billionaire?" another replied. In the classroom, Emily quietly took a seat near the back. Her shirt was plain, and her hair was neatly tied back. She looked around, noticing how the other students avoided her, their eyes drifting to Sophia, who had taken a seat near the front. Sophia sat with a group of girls who had already begun fawning over her. "Your bag is so beautiful," one of them exclaimed. "Is it from Paris?" "Yes," Sophia replied with a smile. "My dad got it for me during our last trip. He said I needed something elegant for school." The girls gasped, clearly impressed. Sophia leaned back in her chair, enjoying the attention. She loved hearing the rumors about her being the billionaire's daughter. She had no intention of correcting them, even if they weren't true. Meanwhile, Emily focused on her notebook, trying to ignore the chatter around her. But as the whispers grew louder, she couldn't help but hear snippets of the conversation. "She must be the daughter of the big donor everyone's talking about," one boy said, glancing at Sophia. "Definitely," another agreed. "Look at her, she's practically glowing with money." Emily shook her head slightly, a small smile on her face. She wasn't bothered by the gossip. She had come to Gracefield to learn, not to compete for attention. As the school day began, it was clear that the students had already made their assumptions. To them, Sophia was the rich and glamorous heiress, while Emily was just a simple girl who didn't belong in their world. It didn't take long for Sophia to set her sights on Emily. To Sophia, Emily's simple clothes and quiet nature made her an easy target. By the end of the first week, Sophia had begun mocking her openly in front of the other students. "Hey, bike girl," Sophia called across the hallway one morning, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Did your bicycle break down yet? Or do you need a scholarship for a new one?" A few students laughed. Emily stopped for a moment, looking at Sophia with calm eyes. "Good morning to you too, Sophia," she said softly, then walked away. This only fueled Sophia's determination. During lunch, she spread rumors that Emily was a scholarship student, barely scraping by to stay at Gracefield. "It's the only way someone like her could afford this school," Sophia whispered to a group of girls, ensuring they'd pass it on. Soon, whispers of bike girl and scholarship student followed Emily everywhere. She ignored the taunts, focusing on her studies, but not everyone was quick to judge. Alex Okonkwo, one of the most popular boys in school, began noticing Emily's quiet strength. Alex was everything the other students admired: handsome, intelligent, and from a wealthy family. Despite his popularity, he wasn't arrogant and didn't like how Sophia treated Emily. One day in the cafeteria, as Sophia loudly mocked Emily's poverty, Alex decided to step in. "Sophia, do you ever stop talking about other people?" he asked, his voice firm. Sophia turned to him surprised. "I'm just telling the truth, Alex. She's more focused on school than gossip, unlike some people." Alex interrupted. His tone was calm but sharp. He walked over to Emily's table and sat down, flashing her a kind smile. "Hi, Emily. Do you mind if I join you?" The cafeteria fell silent. Everyone stared, including Sophia, who clenched her fists under the table. "Of course," Emily said, offering a small smile. "Thanks." Sophia watched as Alex spoke with Emily. Her jealousy burned. How could he, of all people, pay attention to someone like her? She had tried and failed on several occasions to get Alex's attention. A few weeks later, the school held its annual charity event, a chance for students to show off their wealth and generosity. Each class was tasked with raising funds, and individual donations were announced at the event. Sophia saw it as the perfect opportunity to shine. When it was her turn, she stood confidently on the stage. "I'd like to donate $5 million to the school's charity fund," she said, smiling proudly. The crowd erupted in applause. Students whispered about how generous and wealthy Sophia must be. She returned to her seat, basking in the admiration. Vanessa and James, her closest friends, showered her with compliments. "That's amazing, Sophia," Vanessa, a sassy young woman who has done nothing but try to get on Sophia's good side, said, flipping her hair. "Nobody can match your generosity." "Absolutely," James added, giving her an admiring look. "You're the star of the school now." James, despite his conflicted nature, admires Sophia's wealth and harbors feelings for her, hence trying to always get her to notice him. Later, when the next round of donations was announced, everyone was shocked to hear another name: Emily Okocha. "Emily has donated $5 million, the principal announced. The room fell silent. Heads turned toward Emily, who sat quietly at the back of the hall, her expression calm. "Where did she get that kind of money?" one Vanessa whispered. Sophia's jaw tightened. She quickly leaned over to Vanessa and James. "Oh, please. Do you know how she got that money? She probably seduced Alex. He's been spending time with her, hasn't he?" Vanessa gasped, covering her mouth dramatically. "You're probably right, Sophia. That's so low." James smirked. "She's not fooling anyone. Alex must have paid for her donation." The gossip spread like wildfire. By the end of the day, students were whispering that Emily had sold herself to Alex to match Sophia's donation. Sophia made sure to look smug whenever she heard the rumors, relishing the damage she was causing. Despite the whispers, Emily held her head high. Her focus remained on her goals, but she couldn't deny that the constant judgment was beginning to weigh on her. Alex noticed and continued to support her, but Sophia wasn't done. With Vanessa and James by her side, she was determined to make sure Emily stayed in the shadows. The week was buzzing with excitement as James, Sophia's new friend, announced he was throwing a house party. Only the elite and the admired were invited, and naturally Sophia was at the top of the list. "Will you be there, Sophia?" James asked her during lunch, leaning casually on the table. Sophia tilted her head with a playful smile. "I'll try, James. I've been thinking of flying out to Dubai for the weekend." You know how stressful it is balancing school and travel. She sighed dramatically, making sure everyone around heard her. But maybe I'll use our family's private jet to fly back in time. I wouldn't want to miss your party. James grinned. You're amazing, Sophia. It wouldn't be the same without you. Vanessa chimed in, her voice full of admiration. Sophia, you're too much. A private jet just to make it to a party. You're such a queen. Sophia soaked in the compliments, imagining how the students would talk about her wealth long after the party. In her mind, her place as the school's star was secure. The next morning, as students gathered at the school gate, Sophia's voice could be heard arguing loudly with someone outside. Curious, a few students glanced over, only to see her standing in front of a modestly dressed woman holding a basket of food. I told you not to come here, Sophia hissed, glancing around nervously. What if someone sees you? The woman, her face weary but kind, pleaded softly. Sophia, I just wanted to bring you some homemade food. You've been looking thin lately, my child. Sophia snatched the basket and pushed it back toward her. I don't want it, and stop calling me that. Just leave before someone notices. The woman hesitated, her voice breaking. Sophia, I'm doing everything I can for you. You know how hard it was for me to convince Mr. Okocha to let you study here. Please, don't be ashamed of me. The students nearby began whispering, unsure of who the woman was. Sophia's eyes darted around anxiously. She stepped closer to the woman, lowering her voice but still filled with anger. I told you to leave. You're embarrassing me. Just go. When the woman didn't move fast enough, Sophia pushed her. The woman stumbled backward, falling to the ground. Emily, who had just arrived on her bicycle, froze at the sight. Her heart ached for the woman and boiled with anger at Sophia. She quickly dropped her bike and rushed over to help. Are you okay, ma'am? Emily asked gently, helping the woman to her feet. She turned to Sophia, her voice firm. How could you treat an elderly woman like this? Sophia glared at Emily, her mind racing as she saw James and a few other students approaching. Without hesitation, she pointed at the woman and sneered. Oh, don't act so righteous, Emily. Isn't this your mother? Why don't you keep her away from the school gates? Emily's jaw tightened. My mother would never be treated like this because I respect her. What's your excuse? The crowd murmured in confusion, unsure of who to believe. Sophia took a step back, her expression icy. You can't fool anyone, Emily. Stop pretending to be better than you are. Emily ignored Sophia's taunts and turned back to the woman, who was still brushing dust off her dress. Let me help you, ma'am, she said softly, guiding her to a bench nearby. Thank you, my dear, the woman whispered. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Emily smiled reassuringly. You didn't cause any trouble. Sophia watched the scene from a distance, her stomach churning. Her mother's modest appearance will not match the wealth she had been pretending to have. She couldn't let anyone find out the truth, no matter what. Later, Emily overheard students talking about her encounter with Sophia. Did you see Emily yelling at her mother this morning? One girl said, shaking her head. How embarrassing. She's always trying to act like she's better than us, another added. Bike girl thinks she's important. The rumors stung, but Emily held her head high. She knew the truth, even if the others didn't. Meanwhile, Sophia, Vanessa, and James sat together in the cafeteria, laughing as they spread more gossip about Emily. Can you believe her? Sophia said with a fake laugh. She's so desperate to seem perfect. James chuckled. I'll say, she probably thinks standing up to you makes her brave. Vanessa leaned in, her voice dripping with sarcasm. It's pathetic, really. She'll never fit in here. Sophia smirked, satisfied, but deep down she knew Emily's calm strength made her look weak in comparison, and she hated it. As the days went on, the bullying intensified. Students whispered behind Emily's back, made fun of her clothes, and called her names. But Emily refused to let them see her falter. She reminded herself of her father's words. Your worth isn't in what others think. It's in what you do. Despite everything, Emily stayed focused. She didn't know how long she could endure the cruelty, but she knew one thing for sure. She wouldn't let Sophia's lies define her. The air buzzed with excitement as James's party began. The spacious hall of his family mansion was filled with music, laughter, and Gracefield College's elite students. Sophia stood at the center of it all, radiant in a glittering dress that screamed wealth. Her friends Vanessa and James flanked her, feeding her ego with compliments. "I have a little surprise for tonight," Sophia said, smirking as she glanced at Emily, who had just walked in. James, following Sophia's request, had personally invited Emily, assuring her it would be a casual gathering. Emily had arrived wearing a simple but neat dress. Her braided hair was tied back and she carried herself with her usual quiet confidence. The room went silent as students turned to stare. Sophia wasted no time. "Well, well, Emily," Sophia said loudly, her voice dripping with mockery. "Did you stop by a thrift store on your way here? Or is this vintage?" Laughter erupted and Emily felt the weight of dozens of eyes on her. Her cheeks warmed, but she took a deep breath and smiled. "Thank you for noticing, Sophia. It's vintage. Not that you will believe me." The calmness in her voice caught a few students off guard. Whispers spread through the crowd as some began to admire Emily's grace under pressure. Sophia's smirk faltered for a moment, but she quickly recovered. "Oh, I just adore how humble you are, Emily. In fact, let's make tonight more fun. How about a little competition? Let's see if you have any talents to match that confidence." The room grew quiet as all eyes shifted between the two girls. Emily looked at Sophia, her expression calm but firm. "What kind of competition?" "Anything you want," Sophia replied, shrugging. "But I'm sure we all know how this will end." James, noticing the tension, stepped in. "Let's make it fair, Sophia. Emily, do you sing or play an instrument? Maybe that could be your talent." Emily hesitated but nodded. "I can sing a little." Sophia's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "Perfect. Let's give her the spotlight." She motioned toward the stage where a microphone and piano waited. Emily took the stage confidently. The room was silent, and she could feel the weight of everyone's expectations. She closed her eyes for a moment, gathering her thoughts, then began to sing. Her voice was soft and clear, carrying a heartfelt melody that filled the hall. As the song progressed, the audience grew quiet, captivated by the emotion in her voice. Even the students who had mocked her earlier found themselves listening intently. When she finished, there was a brief moment of silence before the room erupted in applause. Sophia's face darkened as she forced a smile. "Well, that was unexpected," she said, her tone strained. But the admiration in the room was undeniable. As the party continued, a tall, well-dressed young man approached Sophia. He had an air of confidence and introduced himself with a charming smile. "Hi, I'm Richard Okoro," he said, extending his hand. "You must be Sophia." Sophia's eyes lit up as she recognized the name. The Okoro family was one of the wealthiest in the region, known for their successful businesses. This was exactly the opportunity she had been waiting for. "Nice to meet you, Richard," she said, her voice sweet. "I've heard a lot about your family." "I've heard about you too," Richard replied. "Would you like to go out sometime? Maybe dinner?" Sophia's heart raced as she saw her classmates watching the exchange, their eyes wide with envy. She smiled coyly. "I'd love to." James, standing nearby, clenched his fists. He had always admired Sophia and felt a pang of jealousy as she eagerly accepted Richard's invitation. Vanessa whispered excitedly, "Sophia, this is perfect. You and Richard make a perfect pair." Sophia's mind was already working. "If I can make him fall for me, I'll secure my place in the elite forever. I just need to keep up this image for a little longer." She smiled to herself, feeling triumphant. The next day, Sophia spread a new rumor through her circle of friends. "Did you see how Emily was acting at the party?" she whispered. "She's obviously trying to snag someone rich like Alex. It's pathetic." The rumor spread quickly, and soon Emily found herself the target of more whispers and pointed stares. Students avoided her in the hallways, sneering as she walked by. But Alex wasn't having any of it. "That's enough, Sophia," Alex said sharply when he overheard her comments during lunch. "You have no right to talk about Emily like that." Sophia's face turned red with anger. "Oh, come on, Alex. I'm just saying what everyone else is thinking." "No, you're spreading lies," Alex replied firmly, Emily has more character than most people here, and you know it. Sophia glared at him, her jealousy burning. Alex's open defense of Emily only made her more determined to take Emily down. Meanwhile, at the Okocha estate, Mrs. Obi overheard the rumors about Emily and Alex. She knew her daughter was behind them and felt a pang of guilt. But she said nothing, fearing that if she spoke out, she might lose her job. For years, she had worked tirelessly to provide for Sophia, even begging Mr. Okocha to let Sophia attend Gracefield. She felt her daughter was doing too much, but there was nothing she could do about it. Mrs. Obi sighed as she went about her chores, her heart heavy. She could only hope her daughter would realize the harm she was causing before it was too late. Sophia's obsession with ruining Emily had reached new heights. Her jealousy, fueled by Alex's growing admiration for Emily and the attention she received at the party, drove her to plot a way to humiliate her once and for all. One morning, Sophia marched into the dean's office, clutching her phone tightly. On the screen was a photo she had carefully manipulated to make it seem as though Emily was meeting an older man for questionable reasons. "Sir," she said, her voice laced with false concern, "I think you should know that one of your students is involved in activities that could harm the school's reputation. I thought it was my duty to bring this to your attention." The dean frowned, taking the phone from her. He examined the photo and shook his head. "I will address this immediately." After the midday assembly, the dean called Emily to his office. The room buzzed with whispers as she walked up, her head held high despite not knowing why she was summoned. "Emily Okocha," the dean said sternly, "it has come to my attention that you've been engaging in behavior unbecoming of a Gracefield student. This photo," he held up the image, "has been brought to me as evidence. Do you deny it?" Emily's eyes widened in shock. She recognized the photo instantly. It was of her uncle, who had taken her out to lunch earlier that week. "Sir," she began calmly, "that's my uncle. He's part of my family." The dean wasn't convinced. "And how do you explain this setting? Meeting older rich men and claiming they are family? This is unacceptable." Before Emily could respond further, the vice-chancellor, who had overheard the commotion, stepped in. "Excuse me, Dean," he said, his voice calm but authoritative. "Before this goes any further, I must clarify something." The vice-chancellor angrily confronted the dean. "Emily Okocha is the daughter of the board's largest donor, Mr. Okocha. The man in the photo is indeed her uncle, a well-respected member of their family. I suggest you verify facts before making accusations." The room fell silent. Sophia, watching from the back of the hall, couldn't hear them from the distance, but she knew her plan wasn't working. She needed a new plan. She clenched her fists, anger boiling inside her. That evening, Sophia concocted a new scheme. She decided to host a party at one of Emily's family mansions to prove she was the real heiress. Her mother, Mrs. Obi, worked as a housekeeper at the mansion, and Sophia convinced her to allow the event. "You need to do this, Mom," Sophia commanded. "I need this. I can't let them think I'm not who I say I am." Mrs. Obi hesitated, fear in her eyes. "Sophia, this is dangerous. If Mr. Okocha finds out, I could lose my job." "I'll make sure no one finds out," Sophia insisted. "Daddy is just a driver, but he could Mr. Okocha's cars to take me to school. Just one night, those rich people have so many houses they would not know one of them is being used." Mrs. Obi sighed, reluctantly agreeing. "Fine, but be careful. If Mr. Okocha discovers this—" "I won't let that happen," Sophia said confidently, already imagining how impressed her classmates would be at the sight of the grand mansion. The party began with grandeur. Sophia greeted her classmates at the grand entrance, pretending the mansion was her family's home. She paraded through the halls, pointing out expensive artwork and designer furniture as if they belonged to her. Vanessa and James were in awe. "Sophia, this place is incredible," Vanessa said, sipping her drink. "You really are the real deal." Sophia smiled smugly, soaking in the admiration. But her confidence began to waver when one of the students spotted Mrs. Obi nervously serving drinks. "Who's that?" the student asked, pointing to Mrs. Obi. Sophia's face turned pale. "Oh, just one of the staff," she said quickly. But her classmates noticed the resemblance between Sophia and the woman. "Wait a minute," someone said, frowning. "She looks like you." Before Sophia could deflect, Mrs. Obi accidentally spilled a tray of drinks, causing the room to go silent. In the awkward hush, someone whispered, "Is that her mom?" Sophia stammered, trying to regain control. "Of course not. Don't be ridiculous." As the evening progressed, a butler employed by the Okocha family entered the main hall, his expression one of confusion and concern. He had not been informed of any event and was taken aback by the presence of so many guests. Approaching Sophia, he inquired politely, "Miss, may I ask under whose authority this gathering is being held?" Sophia, maintaining her facade, responded haughtily, "This is my family's estate, and I am hosting this party. Your interruption is both unnecessary and rude." Some of the students nearby, eager to ingratiate themselves with Sophia, began to chastise the butler. "How dare you question Miss Sophia?" one exclaimed. "Know your place," another added, their voices dripping with disdain. The butler's eyes narrowed, a flicker of indignation crossing his features. Without another word, he stepped aside and made a discreet phone call. Within the hour, Emily arrived at the mansion, accompanied by her father, Mr. Okocha. The room fell into stunned silence as they entered, the realization of their true identities dawning upon the guests. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Isn't that Emily? The poor scholarship girl. She's the real heiress. We've been deceived." Sophia's face drained of color as she stood frozen, unable to process the rapid unraveling of her deceit. Mr. Okocha addressed the group with a calm yet authoritative tone. "Ladies and gentlemen, it appears there has been a misunderstanding regarding tonight's event." Emily's gaze met Sophia's, a mixture of disappointment and empathy in her eyes. Unable to bear the weight of her exposed lies and the judgmental stares of her peers, Sophia fled the mansion, tears streaming down her face. The following days at school were unbearable for Sophia. Her fabricated wealth and status had been laid bare, and the very classmates who once fawned over her now shunned her. The humiliation was profound, but what stung the most was the realization that Emily, the girl she had tormented, possessed the genuine grace and dignity she had always coveted. The morning after the disastrous party, Mr. Okocha sat in his study, his face grim. He had spent the night learning about Sophia's bullying of Emily from his daughter, who had tried to downplay the situation out of kindness. But as a father, he could not ignore the cruelty Sophia had inflicted on his only child. He asked his men to conduct an investigation, and what he learned left him speechless. "That girl has been tormenting my Emily for too long," he muttered, dialing the school vice-counselor. "It's time she faces the consequences." The next day, Sophia was summoned by the school board. The scholarship her mother had begged for was revoked, and with no way to afford the elite school fees, Sophia was expelled. The humiliation was unbearable as the news spread like wildfire among her classmates. Sophia's first instinct was to turn to James and Vanessa, her closest allies at school. She called and messaged them repeatedly, but neither responded. When she finally caught up with them at a cafe near campus, they made their disdain clear. "James, Vanessa!" Sophia called out, rushing toward their table. James glanced at her, his face cold. "What do you want, Sophia?" I need your help," she stammered. "You're my friends." Vanessa scoffed, flipping her hair. "Friends? With you? Sorry, Sophia, but we don't associate with filth." James nodded. "You lied to everyone, Sophia. You embarrassed us by dragging us into your fake world. We're done." Tears filled Sophia's eyes as they walked away without looking back. She felt abandoned and betrayed, the very people she had trusted now turning their backs on her. "This is all that Emily's fault. Why does she get to be born rich and I am not?" she murmured to herself. Later that day, Sophia was sitting alone in the park, her mind racing with thoughts of revenge and despair, when Richard approached her. His usually confident demeanor was replaced with hesitation. "Sophia," he began, sitting beside her, "I need to tell you something." She looked at him warily. "What is it? Have you come here to mock me too?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I lied to you. I'm not from a rich family. My name isn't even Richard Okoro. I just Wanted to match your status because I thought it would impress you. Sophia's eyes widened in shock. You're not rich? You're just some nobody? I'm sorry, he said, his voice earnest. But now that the truth is out for both of us, maybe we can start fresh. I care about you, Sophia. I always have. Let's give this a chance. Sophia's face twisted in disgust. Are you serious? Do you think I'd associate with poverty? I'm going to marry a very rich man, Richard, or whatever your name is. I'm not staying at the bottom. Richard's shoulders slumped as she stormed off, leaving him heartbroken. Desperation and rage consumed Sophia. She couldn't bear the thought of Emily, the girl who had ruined her life, thriving while she suffered. The need for revenge became an obsession. She began plotting ways to destroy Emily's reputation and happiness, eventually landing on a sinister plan to kidnap her. Sophia's jealousy of Emily only grew as she stewed over her ruined reputation. One night, as she sat alone in her small apartment, an idea began to form in her mind. A way to exact revenge and reclaim some sense of power. If she couldn't rise above Emily, she would drag her down. Using Richard's lingering feelings for her, Sophia reached out to him. I need your help, she said sweetly, her tone manipulative. You're the only one I can trust. What do you need, Sophia? He asked cautiously. I want you to help me teach Emily a lesson, Sophia replied, her voice dripping with hatred. She's the reason my life is in shambles. She has to pay. Richard hesitated. What exactly are you asking me to do? Just kidnap her, Sophia said, trying to sound casual. We'll humiliate her, make her understand what it feels like to be powerless. Richard's love for Sophia clouded his judgment. Against his better instincts, he agreed to the plan, believing it would win her favor. The opportunity came during one of Emily's late evening study sessions. As she walked home from the library, Richard approached her, pretending to ask for directions. Before she realized what was happening, he covered her mouth with a cloth and carried her to a waiting car where Sophia was already seated. They drove to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Emily was tied to a chair, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. Sophia paced in front of her, her expression twisted with anger. You think you're better than me, don't you? Sophia hissed. With your perfect life and your billionaire father. Let's see how perfect you are now. Emily didn't respond, her calm demeanor unnerving Sophia. You won't get away with this, Emily finally said, her voice steady. My father will find me. Sophia smirked. Not before I ruin you. Turning to Richard, she said, do it. Show her what it feels like to be nothing. Richard's face paled. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I mean, Sophia snapped. Ruin her, take her dignity, make her beg. Richard backed away, shaking his head. No, Sophia, this is too far. Her father is powerful. He'll destroy us. Sophia's eyes burned with fury. You're a coward, she spat. You said you'd help me. I agreed to help you scare her, not this, Richard said firmly. I won't do it. For a moment, the room was silent except for Emily's steady breathing. Sophia, realizing she couldn't manipulate Richard further, screamed in frustration. Fine. Thank goodness I have a backup plan. As the hours passed with no sign of Emily, Mr. Okocha wasted no time in organizing a massive search party. He offered a hefty reward for any information that could lead to finding his daughter. The news spread quickly, and the entire city became involved, searching high and low. Meanwhile, at the abandoned warehouse, Sophia's plans were unraveling faster than she could manage. Richard, guilt-ridden and hesitant, had already begun to regret his involvement. The tension in the room was thick as Sophia, desperate to salvage her scheme, barked orders. This isn't over yet, she said, pacing angrily. We need to make her suffer. Emily, tied to a chair, remained calm, despite the danger. You won't win, Sophia, she said firmly. My father will find me, and when he does, you'll regret this. Sophia smirked, but said nothing. She motioned to Richard, trying to push him into action. Do it now, she demanded. Show her who's in control. Richard hesitated. This is too far, Sophia. We need to let her go. You're weak, Sophia snapped, turning to Emily with fury. I'll handle this myself. She grabbed her phone and made a call. Bring the others, she said coldly. It's time to finish this. As the call ended, the warehouse door burst open. Alex stood there, flanked by 2 security guards hired by Mr. Okocha. His face was a mixture of anger and determination. Sophia, step away from her, Alex ordered. Sophia froze, the phone still in her hand. What are you doing here? She spat. This has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me, Alex said, moving toward Emily. You've gone too far, Sophia. It ends now. Richard, overwhelmed by guilt, stepped back, his hands raised. I didn't want to do this, he mumbled. I was only helping her because you're just as pathetic as she is, Alex interrupted sharply. You'll both face the consequences for this. Sophia, realizing she was out of options, lunged toward Emily, trying to grab her before Alex could intervene. But Alex was faster. He pulled Sophia back, his grip firm. Let her go, Sophia, Alex said sternly. It's over. Sophia's composure cracked. She screamed in frustration, tears streaming down her face. She has everything. She's perfect, rich, and loved by everyone. I couldn't stand it anymore. Emily, now untied, stood and looked at Sophia with a mix of pity and sadness. You could have had friends, Sophia. You didn't have to do this. Sophia slumped to the floor, her strength and resolve gone. I hated you, she admitted quietly, because you reminded me of everything I'll never be. The police arrived shortly after, alerted by Alex. Sophia and Richard were both arrested on the spot. As they were led away in handcuffs, Sophia looked back at Emily one last time. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice barely audible. For everything. Emily didn't respond but met her gaze with calm understanding. For all the pain Sophia had caused, Emily knew her hatred stemmed from deep insecurity and sadness. Later that evening, as Emily rested at home, Alex stopped by to check on her. Are you okay? He asked gently. Emily nodded. I'm fine, thanks to you. Alex smiled. You're stronger than you realize, Emily. Not everyone could have handled this with as much grace as you did. Emily looked at him, her expression thoughtful. It's not strength, Alex. It's just knowing that I have people who care about me. People like you. Sophia faced the full consequences of her actions in the days that followed. Expelled from school, disgraced, and with a criminal record, she was left to confront the ruins of her life. The classmates who once admired her now avoided her. As she sat alone in her small room, she reflected on her choices. The jealousy and bitterness that had consumed her had led to nothing but pain for herself and others. For the first time, she realized the cost of her hatred. In the weeks following the ordeal, Emily and Alex grew closer. Their shared experiences brought them together, and they often found themselves talking for hours about their dreams, values, and plans for the future. One sunny afternoon, as they walked through the school gardens, Alex turned to Emily with a soft smile. You know, Emily, you've taught me a lot. It's not about wealth or status. It's about the person you choose to be. Emily smiled back. And you've shown me that there are people who will stand by you, no matter how tough things get. Thank you for that. Their friendship deepened with each passing day, and though neither spoke the words aloud, there was an undeniable spark between them. Whether it was friendship or the beginning of something more, they both knew they shared a bond built on trust, kindness, and mutual respect.